Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Esports 101 webinar brought to you by the Michigan High School Esports League. We have a few more folks signed up for the webinar, so we're going to give them another moment or two to get on the session here. While we are waiting to get started, for everybody to get settled in, if you could please hop on the chat and introduce yourself. Tell us, who you are, where you're from, what your role is, and then something that you're hoping to learn or take away from today's webinar. As you are in the chat, just make sure that it is set to respond so everyone can read your response, and so it doesn't just go to myself and the other panelists and whatnot. So we'll take a moment or two to do that, and then we will get rolling. Welcome, Zach and Andrew. Thanks for being here today. I always get excited seeing the different schools and from where they are across the state that are thinking about starting a program. Some of you have programs already. You're just looking to hop into maybe a new league, or you're returning from a few years off, or this is all completely brand new and you're just thinking about getting started to do some research. So welcome to everybody. I see Jason is here, Nick, Britton, Travis. Hi, Philip and Dustin as well, and John. Thank you so much for taking the time to introduce yourself again in the chat. So we are going to go ahead and keep moving on just to be respectful of your time. My name is Ryan Casey. I'm currently the Director of Esports for the Michigan High School Esports League. I am joined by our Assistant Director, my partner in crime, Maggie Helmer. So usually as the seasons go on and different events pop up or you have questions, chances are you're going to talk to Maggie or myself. From Play Versus, who is our platform partner, we have Rachel Murray, and she does a great job supporting all of the schools here in Michigan and our entire state, making sure that you have a great experience. She's really involved in the onboarding aspect of getting you all set up and running to be able to start and join the league whenever you are ready. So you have the three of us, and then you see a lot of different contact info at the bottom of this slide in terms of our website, our email address, phone numbers, our Discord server and X handle and all that good stuff. And so just so you know how kind of the flow of this session is going to work, this is a webinar, so we do have the Q&A system open. And so what we'd like you to do is if you just have a comment you want to share, an idea, or respond to something else that somebody else has said, the chat is a great place to do that. If you have a specific question about something you see on a slide, please use the Q&A to enter that. Maggie's going to be kind of checking the Q&A. Rachel will, or I will, depending on who is talking, and we'll make sure we get all of your questions answered before you leave today. A copy of this slide deck and this webinar recording will be emailed out to you. I'll probably get this out to you today so you have that. I know some of you are maybe have been voluntold or volunteered to kind of take charge on this esports stuff at your school. Others might be kind of filling in, or you have somebody in mind that might be able to take the lead, so you can absolutely share this information with them. So that's kind of how it's going to roll today. I'd like to get started just to kind of explain what the Michigan High School Esports League is, MHSEL as we like to call ourselves in short. So we are actually hosted by MASSP, which is the Michigan Association of Secondary School Principals, as well as the Michigan Association of Student Councils and Honor Societies. I myself am a former high school, middle school principal. I've been a lifelong educator, so I actually work for MASSP, the Principals Association, as well as Maggie. We support our middle school and high school principals and teacher leaders and central office folks from all across the state. We work with a lot of students through our student leadership side. So if you have National Honor Society kiddos or student council kiddos, we do a lot of leadership training for them. And so we work with principals, we work with kids. And so really during the pandemic 5 years ago now, we had an opportunity to come our way from the MHSEL Association saying, hey, we're not interested in esports. We think you guys, this would be a great fit for you. And we agreed. At the end of the day, If there's something that's really good for kids, it's probably really good for principals and really good for the entire school community. And so we hopped on board offering esports as an opportunity to engage kids who have historically not been engaged at school. And we'll talk about that a little bit along the way. And so it's been great. But that is who hosts this league, right? So it's not the athletic association or other groups, it's the principals group. And then we, as I mentioned, partner with Play Versus, which is a national esports company that works in a majority of the states across our country. And they actually have the platform that operates the league in terms of the schedule and communicating results of matches and various resources available as regards to training and supporting and leading your esports program. And so we've been really happy with our partnership with them for the last 5 years. And every year we get bigger and we do more and more amazing things for kids. And so that is kind of how it works. So if you ever hear somebody say, oh, we're in the Principals League or the Play Versus League, what they're really saying is the Michigan High School Esports League, or MHSEL. This is our mission and vision statement that we use. This was crafted alongside of our advisory board. So we have a group of educators that are coaches and teachers and network administrators that represent various areas of the state. And together we set a lot of policy. We offer a lot of feedback to Play Versus to help support, grow, and enhance our league. And, our mission is really to provide a safe, competitive, and curricular environment that allows student athletes the opportunity to build skill sets and explore different college and career opportunities and pathways through esports. And there are different ways you can be involved in esports across the state. Our league is one option, but we believe that we are Michigan's elite high school esports league for both high schools and middle school students. Here are some quick stats regarding our spring 2025 season. That was our largest to date. So it was our 10th season, our 5th year. We offered 15 different game titles. We had over 200 schools participating, almost 850 teams, and almost 4,000 students. And those numbers just go up every single season. I think 5 years ago when we started with like 20 schools and 24 teams and 3 games. And so it's just really taken off. And hopefully after today's session, you kind of understand why it's so popular and why kids are latching onto this and why it's just been exploding the way it has. A couple of quick facts for you here. So there are 3 different leagues that you can participate in within the Michigan High School Esports League. So we have our high school league, and we break it down. There are some different divisions in there based on certain games and how popular they are. That really does model the traditional, varsity kind of traditional sports model. We have a middle school league, typically in the fall. That's just a for fun, scholastic, right? No championship really involved. And then the spring, it kind of mirrors more what we do at the high school. It's a little more competitive. And then we also offer a Special Olympics or Unified Esports League through our partnership with Michigan Special Olympics. And so that's a really, really cool opportunity to involve all students in your building, right? The opportunity to be part of a team, a program, get some fun experiences through competition. And so those are really the kind of the 3 avenues in which we offer esports. And this happens all year long. We run a fall season, which is kind of aligns with semester 1, and a spring season, which aligns with semester 2. These are not dependent on one another. We, of course, the majority of our schools are involved all year long, but you can absolutely participate in the fall and not the spring, vice versa. We know sometimes with just getting the school year up and running and hiring new teachers and whatnot, sometimes the fall is a heavy lift, but then you can get those things figured out. So you join us in the spring. And so here is a video that I will play. I did not check the sound yet, so I apologize. This comes from our fall championships, which were held at Michigan State University. We just got done with our spring season, our spring championships. We're just the other week at Oakland. That video is not done, so we'll push that out shortly as soon as it is ready. But I'm just going to ask that you kind of watch what's happening. What do you notice from the students? What do you notice from the coaches? How do you see the spectators or the parents or their peers react? Because I think this will hopefully help explain, again, the excitement and passion around esports. Any sound coming through, Maggie, or no? Okay, that's okay. I'll talk a little bit. Just some electronic music. So again, this was at Michigan State University. We started with an awards program. We'll talk about the awards a little later in the session, but basically just like there is a all league, all state player of the year for football, we have that same model for esports. And so it's really exciting to recognize and honor those kids. For this fall, we had 32 teams show up to compete against 4 different game titles. So we did our quarterfinals on up for 4 of the game titles. We pick different titles every year somewhat to showcase at our in-person events. So this time it was Smash Brothers, Rocket League, Mario Kart, and Valorant, 4 extremely popular games that you absolutely have kids playing right now in your school buildings. They get to play for either a plaque or a runner-up or a state championship trophy. They get medals. It's awesome because every year we get a kid that kind of tears up when Maggie presents them with their medal, because it's the first time that they've ever gotten a medal or a trophy in their life before for anything, right? And so a lot of these kids are not soccer kids, volleyball, football kids, right? It's their first time being part of something like this. And so it's really cool to watch the parents cheer for them and go crazy when they win, right? Just like you would in traditional sports. So hopefully that video shines a little bit of light on that. So I'm going to pause now. I'm going to hand it over to Rachel, who's going to really talk about how the league works in terms of just getting started, the different game titles available, kind of some of the tech needs associated with the game titles. Her and I might go back and forth a little bit. And then we'll talk a little bit at the end, kind of what makes our league unique, some things that you're going to want to start doing now in order to prep for next fall. Before we get started, any questions right now? Maggie, how we looking there? Good? Awesome. All right. So I'll keep driving the slide deck. Rachel, let me know if I'm going too fast or slow, but otherwise, it's all yours.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. My name is Rachel Murray. I am the Customer Success Manager at PlayVersus for Michigan, but I work with a lot of the different Midwest states to get them up and going and help them be successful to create their esports program. A little bit about PlayVersus. We are the largest amateur esports platform and community, essentially. We recently, like 2 weeks ago, actually just acquired 2 other esports companies that were doing amazing things, and we merged with them. So we are now a pipeline for elementary through college esports. Now, what that exactly looks like is to be determined as we work over the summer to kind of figure out that pipeline. However, what we do know is that our middle school and high school competitions are going to be bigger and better than ever. And new this year, starting now, we are also offering curriculum. So I will speak to that in a little bit, but you can go ahead and move forward here. When I'm speaking with schools and coaches talking about what it takes to start their esports program, we start with the big 3. So this is if you are brand new, you do not have any sort of program at your school, what do you need to focus on? You need to focus on students with student interest, figure out what titles your students are interested in, and that's going to kind of lead you down the path of what equipment and what approval needs to be done. You need a coach. Now, this coach does not need to be a gamer. It needs to be an adult that is supportive of their students and can be a supervisor. So we will take care of all of your training needs. You really don't need to know much about gaming. You just need to know what your students need to do on match day, and you need to guide them to be good sports and show good sportsmanship. And then you're going to need equipment and IT approval. The sooner you can get your IT team on board, the easier your life is going to be. IT people don't like surprises. So as soon as you get them on board and help out, your life's going to be easier with this setup. As soon as you have these 3 aligned, getting on the platform, getting set up for match day is a breeze. So really focus on these 3 pillars to get your program up and going.
And I'm just going to chime in real quick, Rachel. Especially from the coach perspective, she's absolutely right. The kids will teach the adult kind of the ins and outs of the games. We have coaches that are absolute gamers, right? They're a little younger and they've been gamers their whole life, and so it's a natural fit. We have other people who haven't played a video game since Donkey Kong, and that's okay. They have great programs. Their kids have a blast, right? And so that really is important. So whether it's a young adult, older brother, sister, a college kid that's a gamer or is involved in their community college gaming program, if it's the 35-year veteran math teacher that has only done arcade games back in the day, totally fine. And my helpful hint for as Rachel mentioned, the IT approval and equipment setup is find out if your network administrators are coffee folks or brownie or cookie folks, and just bring them, because you're going to rock their world a little bit and say, hey, all those video games we block, we don't want kids playing. We need some kids to be able to play those games at a certain time in a certain spot of the school. So just be prepared for that. So sorry, Rachel.
No, that's perfect. So let's talk about some of the games that we have available. And we also have some resources, and I know Maggie sends it out as well, but we have different interest surveys that you can kind of use as a starting guide to see what your students are even into. So you can see up on the slide here all of the different titles that are available for our fall season. Some of these you may have never heard of, but I am going to point out some of the really, really popular ones. And you can see some are for middle school and high school, and some are just for high school. I would say that any of our Nintendo titles, we see a ton of students gravitate towards. Super Smash Brothers, Mario Kart, and Splatoon. Those use Nintendo Switches, which is a pretty affordable piece of equipment. And I'll talk about too in a minute, kind of how you can get the most bang for your buck equipment wise. It is on the schools to acquire this equipment, and Playversus can assist in a few ways with some certain game codes to kind of help cut the costs there. And then competition on our platform is no cost. We should have said that at the top. There's no cost to compete on the Playversus platform. So really, you need to be able to acquire the equipment. Fortnite is another really big one at the high school level that students really gravitate towards. Marvel Rivals is going to be a brand new title for our Michigan League in the fall. Again, that's a new title with the Marvel characters. That one's a really fun one as well. Two, I want to point out for a school that cannot afford any equipment and you only have what is on hand. You can only use a Chromebook, a tablet, or student phones. Chess and Pokemon Unite. Those are going to be the two titles that really allow you to get involved in esports with the equipment that you have. Playversus has many, many different resources to help guide you through exactly what equipment you need, how many, and just some suggestions for your IT team as well. We're not going to dive into that here, but know that we have that to help you out. I think we can go to the next slide unless you have anything to add, Ryan. Okay, so for how the leagues run is each title is assigned a day of the week that the match days are on. And our match days for high school are going to be at 4 p.m. Eastern time. And you can kind of see there the different breakdowns of the titles for each week. Now, if you are the coach and you know that Mondays are not available to you, do not offer your students those Monday titles. You have the flexibility here to decide what your program is going to look like. So Monday through Thursday are match days. If you are not participating on any of those certain days, some schools use that day off as a practice day. Others don't, and they just don't meet that day. Playversus and MHSEL don't have a requirement for what practice or game days a schedule looks like, other than these are the set match days. Any other time is really up to you. And then our middle school, do you have anything to add, Maggie?
Continue. You're okay.
Next slide, we'll go to the middle school. It is slightly different. We only do Tuesday through Thursdays, and our match times start at 3:30 for our Michigan titles, our Michigan League titles, and then 4 p.m. for any titles that go into our broader regional leagues. I can answer questions about that at a later time, but the highlights are 3:30 or 4 is what you need to know. So again, Tuesdays through Thursdays. If you don't meet on Mondays and Fridays, great. If you do, it's a great time to practice.
I believe before we go into the next information, and I know one of the questions in the chat, oh, nope, you can be on the game info slide. It's fine, Ryan. is, are there any console requirements for these games? For example, do you need a PC to play any of these games, or do you need a system instead, like an Xbox? So this slide will actually be answering a lot of those questions. And then we also had a question in the Q&A regarding, do we know if there is a plan for when the Switch 2 is going to be released?
Good question.
Yes, that's a great question. So we like to give schools a very large runway to make an equipment switch, because we know that, you know, these funds are not just disposable for you. So for the next school year, we are sticking with the regular switch, and we will give ample notice on when we will require the Switch 2 as the piece of equipment. No plans right now. We're still kind of waiting and seeing. But we do know that the games that we use will be compatible on a Switch 2. So if your school is really wanting to purchase that Switch 2, it'll still work with these games. We just are not requiring it. So my suggestion, save your money, get a regular Switch, and be able to play with that for at least the next school year. Exactly like Maggie said, each title, of course, has different equipment needs and can be used on different types of consoles. So this slide does such a great job of giving you a high-level overview of what is needed for each of the different titles. And some of them you have more options. For the most part, you typically need the same amount of equipment as players. So for example, League of Legends, 5 players, you need 5 PCs. That is not the case for 2 of our titles, which would be Super Smash Bros. And Mario Kart. Those ones you can share switches. So Super Smash Bros, you only need 1 switch, and then Mario Kart, you only need 2 switches. That's a lot of information to remember, so please know that PlayVersus is here to help. We'll help guide you through this as you get a little bit farther along. But for the most part, the number of players is the number of pieces of equipment that you will need.
And so just to piggyback on that, you really have to do an audit of what current equipment you have, right? So at one time, we used to have a ton of computer labs in our schools, and as we went to one-to-one devices, I know a lot of those spaces got reimagined for other things. And so chances are, if you have a CAD lab or a media center, or a computer lab, you probably have machines that can play these games. Maybe they need a minor RAM or a graphics card update. That's something that your IT people will absolutely be able to answer, and they'll be able to look at the requirements for each game and make that determination. But, some of these games are pretty heavy in terms of how many players, right? So Marvel Rivals, that is a 6-person game, right? So if your room only has capacity for 15 kids, and you have to look at the day of the week the game is being played and what size game title is needed on that day, right? A lot of these games, you can have multiple teams for that game. So it's not like you have to only have one Rocket League team, right? If you have 9 kids that want to play Rocket League, you can have 3-person teams. You can see kind of what the different requirements are for each game, if it's at high school or middle school. We have a lot of schools that allow students to bring equipment in from home. So if a kid has their own Switch, their own Xbox, they bring it in, they check it in with their coach before school starts, they use it after school. Obviously, there's some additional steps to get those devices on your network and approved. We have schools that will go out and buy brand new equipment. We have schools that'll go to GameStop and get used ones, Facebook Marketplace. We have some coaches that are really good about doing fundraising and hitting up local organizations and businesses saying, hey, we're trying to field this team. We could use funds to purchase a new Xbox or PlayStation or a gaming laptop. From an administrator perspective, maybe you were able to use some funds to get some beefed up laptops that can be used for credit recovery during the day. And then after school, they can be used for esports. We kind of dual purpose some of our machines. Except for the exception of chess and Pokemon, most Google Chrome laptops will not work for a lot of these. Like when it says PC, it is not saying a Chromebook for the most part. So those don't necessarily play nice, except for, again, chess, Pokemon. So just some things to consider. But a lot of information there. How are we doing, Maggie? Did that answer those questions? Awesome.
little bit about our Unified League. We offer 2 different titles for our Unified League. So with Mario Kart, that is available for middle school and high school. And those are 4-player teams. So you have 2 unified athletes and then 2 partners. And they compete against other unified teams around the country. It is so fun to watch. If you already have a robust unified program at your school, or you have a really involved special education team, this is a really cool way to just involve those students. Rocket League is available for high school. That is a 2-person team. And so that would be 1 partner and 1 athlete. Again, this is just such a cool way to involve these students who typically have already this major interest in esports, and it's just a really awesome feeling to watch them compete. So please know that is there. If you need more information, follow up with me after and I can get you that. Awesome. A little bit more about what does a coach need to do? What does this mean? I'm the coach. What do I need to do? So the coach, you need to kind of be our go-between from Play Versus, MHSEL if needed, and the other school that you're competing with. So you will have the opportunity to be in contact with your school that you are playing. You will contact us if anything kind of funky happens. You're in the middle of a match and you get disconnected. You're going to be in charge of taking the reins and assisting with any tech issues from there, or at least pointing us in the direction where we can help fix the tech issues. You'll need to know the rules and the game day protocol for the different titles that you're participating in. We have it all documented. It's very easy to follow along with. You're going to know what to expect based on the different rules that we have set. And then we can go to the next slide. It's your job in the platform to manage the matches. What this means is you put in the students, you assign the students to their different teams, and then you will also keep track of the score and submit results, which I think is on the next slide. We're not going to do a platform demo today, but please know that you can book one-on-one time with me. I'll walk you through it. It is very intuitive, and we have YouTube video tutorials to walk you through everything. It's very simple to manage, but again, we're here to help you. We know that that's just kind of step 2. Step 1 is getting those big 3 under control. So check-in time, it is helpful to be in your place about an hour before matches, right after school, if that makes sense. You got to check in, make sure all your students are there. There's a way to ready up in our platform. You can see there the screenshot of Coach Jacob Hernandez. We have that match lobby chat. So that is where you're connected with the other team's coach. And a lot of times the communication looks like, we're ready to go. You want to start? Yep. No, actually, we need 5 more minutes. We got to restart a computer. Things like that, just logistics. It makes it really easy that you can just communicate right in the app. You don't have to open up a separate Discord or any other type of messaging. It's all done right within Play Versus.
And that's something we really focus on with all our coaches. Are just we do additional trainings with our coaches. We usually assign them to like a mentor coach that's been around doing this for years now. And that's usually a big thing, is just communication, like taking a look at your schedule a week ahead of time, knowing who you're going to get matched up with, checking with the coach early in the week saying, hey, are we all good? Or, oh, hey, we got a half day that day. So we got to, those types of things happen, snow days, power outages, and we always are able to work through all those things. But it usually just comes down to communicating often and early with others. And again, the platform makes it super simple. So you don't have to look up somebody's cell phone number unless it's an emergency to get a hold of them.
Again, more just kind of screenshots so you can kind of imagine the type of communication that needs to be done. Ryan did a really good job of saying the reschedules. That is done right in the platform. You submit for a reschedule. The other coach can either accept it or propose another time, and you can find a time that works for you there. And we really we want students to be able to compete at the end of the day. So we try to make it as flexible where we can, flexible yet structured, so that your students are competing. Got a video here of what it takes to sign up. If you take anything after today, go ahead and go to playversus.com, create your coach's account, and poke around on there to kind of understand what that platform looks like. Again, there are tutorials that are listed on there. There are tons of resources to just help you get get started as well. And then my contact information will be on your platform too.
And just to echo that again, because this is all free, right? There really is no harm in just going on, creating an account, getting your school added into the system, because you can do this right now. You can have kids do this as a project this summer. As soon as you kind of get closer to returning to the building in August or September, you can go on and scrimmage right now if you want with other schools, right? It's a scrimmage, it's an expedition. It doesn't count for anything, but it's just a good way to like figure out some of the little intricacies of how it all works and the tech needs and things like that. So if you got some kids that you think are pretty gung-ho about this and are interested, you could round up a couple kids, say, hey, do you guys want to try this and see what it takes to get a switch on the network and play a Smash game or something like that. And so, and all those resources will walk you through how to set those scrimmages up and to get started before the school year is out. I mentioned at the beginning, everything kind of follows the semester model in terms of our season timelines. So typically a season includes a couple weeks of a preseason. That is really, really, really crucial time, even though, again, it's just a preseason, doesn't count for anything, because it helps you work through all those technology bugs and mishaps that might occur. And so we really encourage people to do that. That'll take about 2 weeks typically. We have an 8-week regular season, and that does include a bye week at your disposal that you have to select at the beginning of the season. So if you know, obviously like spring break, right? Some of you have an extended, other different holiday breaks in there at different times. So you can put that bye week in there. And then we usually see a 2 to 4 week postseason tournament. Again, depending on how many teams and schools are signed up, how large a league is, how big the bracket is that we make, there is a postseason in which if you qualify because your team had enough wins and whatnot, you can play for that state championship that you saw, whether it's virtual or in person in that video we saw at the beginning of our session. Here are the key dates for fall. So the enrollment deadline to join our season is going to be September 19th. I would not wait until September 19th to decide if you want to do esports at all. That's really more of like a deadline for like schools who have done this already, because once they've done it, they know their infrastructure set up. They can go, oh yeah, I'm good, and then be ready to compete week 1 the following week. If you are a new school, I would strongly suggest that you are registered prior to September 8th. This way you can join in on the preseason. So both middle school and high school, this is the schedule. Starting September 8th would be the first week of preseason. You will have 2 weeks. September 22nd is when the regular season will start. That'll carry us through November. High school only will have playoffs starting November 17th, and that'll take us through December. Middle school, you will probably continue to play for a few more weeks closer to into December. Again, the middle school fall is just a scholastic season. There are no playoffs. There's no championships. You can play for bragging rights, of course, right? But just a scholastic season for our middle schoolers.
We do have a couple questions in the
Yeah.
chat. I've got one about, can students play on playversus.com without a school?
This is a nuanced answer. So for the most part, no. They need to be associated with the school. The bulk of what PlayVersus does and what MHSEL does is scholastic esports. With that being said, when you go to sign up on playversus.com, you're going to see 2 options, a scholastic option and a stadium option. Our stadium option is newer, but that is where we do allow students. It is coach free. Students can go on there. We have tournaments sporadically throughout the year. It's just a little bit less organized and a little bit more at the discretion of different sponsors, different events that we're doing. So it's not a regular, really structured season like we do for Scholastics. So it's there. It's not a replacement. We prefer the Scholastics option, obviously, when we're dealing with the Principals Association. So
As a quick follow-up, you just sign up as a school and coach, and they sign up under you.
Yep, that's right. So when you go to sign up as a coach, you'll find your school. It'll link you to your school. Every school is already in Play Versus set up through our database. And then the students will do the same. So when they sign up, they get linked to your school as well. And so then you'll be able to see all of the students that have signed up and have chosen to, click your school, and then you'll be able to add them to rosters from there. We've got instructions and step-by-step videos for that as well. I recommend getting all your interested students in a room and doing it at the same time. Just makes it a little bit easier for you. If you have students who are under the age of 13 who are going to compete at the middle school level, their parents have to be the ones to create that account for them, just so that we're compliant with all of the age restrictions when it comes to COPPA rules and things like that. So again, we have the step-by-step things needed for that, but give yourself a little extra time, obviously, when the parents need to be the one to set that up for you.
And then we have one other question in the Q&A. How can we get involved in broadcasting of these events? I currently work as a broadcast director and producer for a lot of Rocket League Championship Series events and have interest.
Absolutely. So that's one of the great things about esports, and some of the things we'll talk about this a little later in the presentation, but we really do try to add in, we're very serious about attaching skill sets and college and career opportunities through esports. So we do a lot of things throughout the year. Maggie will talk about this in a few moments, about different ways we do that. And one of the more popular ways that we are able to really get kids to think about different skills beyond just playing the game comes from streaming these matches and broadcasting, because there's a lot of STEM related skills and components to running a broadcast, setting up machines. There's computer science elements in there. Shoutcasting the match from a presentation, a play-by-play color commentary approach. And so we highlight those. We do matches of the week at the high school level. We try to stream matches. We give schools the opportunity to do that. We have resources available for that. Some of our schools in Michigan are very, very good at that. And so those are all opportunities for sure to do that. Just for time, I'm going to keep rolling here, and then we can answer some more in just a little bit, Maggie. Just looking for the fall. We talked about those deadlines again. We will run this presentation one more time. So if we have somebody new that's going to be joining your team or program that needs to kind of hear some of this information again, we will run another one of these in August. We typically do a coaches meeting at the beginning of the season, each season. So we can just talk about some special events, updates on policies or rules to some of the games. So everybody is kind of on the up and up in terms of knowing what to expect. And the big date for our high schools for fall will be December 6th. We will do our in-person championship back at Michigan State University once again. And so I know Rachel mentioned the kind of the exciting new thing that they were able to offer from some of the acquisitions that occurred. So she's going to talk a little bit about the curriculum opportunities.
I'm going to keep this very brief because we could have a whole nother 45-minute webinar on these curriculum options. So I'm just going to keep it quite brief. These are going to be paid. While competition is free, the curriculum is a paid opportunity for your school. We can talk about pricing and what that looks like offline. However, I just wanted to let you know that we have one option for middle school curriculum, and this is called Exploring Life Skills Through Scholastic Gaming. So we are state standard and national standard aligned, where this can be adopted into existing courses. It does not need to become its own gaming class. So if your middle school students already have some sort of intro to technology life skills class, this curriculum, which was written by principals for teachers, it's a really fun curriculum. It's very flexible and can be adopted however you need. But you can see there some of the topics that are taught through a gaming lens. So if you want more information on this after, I'll have my meeting link, my email address. We can go into depth about what this looks like. So high level, just wanted to let you know. For high school, we have five different courses that again are state standard aligned. So these do not need to be created as a new elective. They can be plugged in to existing courses. I will make sure that the state and the state standards are linked right after this. So when you receive this copy, you can dive into that. But the fundamentals course is very intro level. That is just like, what is gaming? Why is esports important? And you can see the different descriptions there. Interactive media, again, this can go into that CTE slot of the different types of media. Just because someone mentioned streaming and shoutcasting, I wanted to point those out as well. Those are typically aligned to English and speech classes. So again, taking a class that is probably required, but maybe isn't the most popular, and teaching it through a gaming lens, some really incredible things that we're seeing with this curriculum. So let's take a conversation offline if this is of interest to you, but this does then open up some additional funding for you if you're tying the classroom to your after school program. So just wanted to throw that out there as well. And here is my email address and my meeting link. More than happy to do any of this one-on-one with you. Every school is unique. Every program is unique. So please know that that is my full job, that I'm here to assist you and answer any questions that you have. So please, I hope that we can connect one-on-one after this.
Awesome. Thank you, Rachel. Just because remember, I'm sending this slide deck out. So there are a lot of resources built into this slide deck. These are all links. So if you want to see some of those YouTube videos for the people that want to get stuff in the hands of their IT network folks, right? This hardware network specifications is a really good link. Again, so these are all links that are built into this slide deck. Again, additional resources, the parent guide to esports that you can share. Maggie included a list of some of our super coaches. This is in addition to our advisory board. So these are all people that typically I will, or Maggie will try and connect you with. If when you're having questions based on kind of where you're located, we'll say, hey, Coach White is our coach of the year, and he's been doing this for over 5 years. So we'll loop in Coach White to see if he can share, an example how you might be able to get through this issue. And so it's a really helpful way to get connected with some of the really awesome coaches we have. All of the rule books are listed here. All of the game day protocols are here, and they are really important to go through. Maybe not at this moment in time, but once you know which games you're gonna, your kids are most passionate about. And again, you're not going to do all of these games. You won't have capacity to do all these games, especially if you're new. I would start small and grow from there. But you will want to read those because there's certain rules on how you can select a certain map or a certain character you want to work and how to use, and that has to be communicated. So just all good resources there. Otherwise, in the last few moments that we have, we're going to talk specifically about what makes our league unique. And I'm going to turn it over to my partner in crime, Maggie, and just tell me, and I'll try and click along. And we have a few minutes left here.
Okay, I'm going to try to rock through a lot of these as honestly, Ryan and Rachel have already hit on a lot of this. We do premier events that are very unique just to our Michigan High School Esports League participants, both middle and high school. We do virtual and in-person events where there are regional events, tournaments, or competitions that we do. You'll see a little bit more of that later on. And we also hold both fall and spring in-person championships for the league. There are tons of resources online, and what we have provided, which will be linked on the webinar, as well as the slide deck and on our website, as well as a ton that PlayVersus has. One of the things that makes us very unique is that we do work with a platform partner, PlayVersus. They are absolutely wonderful, and they have a state-of-the-art dashboard that is really user-friendly, and they work with all of the games, the game title publishers, to make sure that we are doing this legally and that we have approval from them to compete in these game titles. So this is just a list or a partial list of some of our premier events that we've hosted. Shoutcaster Showdown, our esports conference. We have a variety of webinars throughout the year as well to help you with fundraising or getting donations and many other aspects. And one of the biggest things that we have to go along is our in-person and virtual tournaments. We have a variety of partners that we work with at the collegiate level, different different organizations that have also gotten involved that like to host events and help provide other opportunities outside of just our normal league and season. And anytime that we have an opportunity, we will make sure that that is shared out with our individuals. Again, we also have our in-person season championship, and for the fall, we will be at MSU, like Ryan said.
And a lot of our partners do support a lot of the events we run. You know, for example, at our spring championships, I think we had 10 or 12 different college programs attend the event. They are there to scout and recruit. There are scholarships available for this stuff, believe it or not. And so it's really cool to see, you know, that happen, and they come and support our events. And so just one thing I wanted to point out here.
Right. And the next couple slides are just some photos of our events. The students really get super excited, as well as so do our spectators. We get a huge turnout. We had over 300 people in attendance at our spring championship and over 400 at our fall. Just again, a couple photos of the opportunities available. And you'll have more access to a few of these slides. Like this is our conference and Shoutcaster Showdown. Ryan will be able to speak to this a little bit more, but our esports awards, we have 4 different categories throughout the year that we do. Our all league is provided each season. We do a certificate that is sent out to all of our coaches so that they can provide an all league player to at their school for their award ceremony for the esports program. All state is done each season, fall and spring. And then player of the year and coach of the year is done at the end of the school year and is presented at our spring championship. And as you can see, we've been doing this for 3 seasons now. We started last spring and have continued. We've added a couple new awards as well that are one-offs depending on if we have individuals that we believe are worthy. Just a couple more photos. We have a couple different videos and testimonials that we love to share with you guys, so that you're just not hearing it from us, that you're actually hearing it from individuals that are in the field, that are actually working through this, that are coaches. So this individual, Chris White, is also on our advisory board. He's a wonderful resource. So again, if you have extra questions that you want to talk to somebody that is doing all of this, we can connect you with those individuals. We've had different events that have gone viral. This is really getting very hyped up. Ryan was actually in attendance at this event. This was about 2 years ago now. And it was a wonderful experience to really see that schools get behind their esports team. We also have we have a course that is free online for introduction to esports, just to help get you more familiar. So if you are interested, there's a link that is provided there. This is Ryan and I's favorite quote that we honestly, truly believe is what we've run the league by, is that esports, no matter the results, when students compete, school culture wins. Our national platform partner Play Versus have conducted surveys, and at the national level, 45% of students that compete in esports have never been involved in any other school activity outside of being in the classroom. So this really does hit a whole nother group of students that have never been involved in a school's culture. So you're really reaching a student group that haven't been involved and need a place, like honestly just want a place to be connected with other individuals. Ryan, I know that you can speak to this a little bit more.
Yeah, and we have the data that shows that being involved in extracurricular opportunities, including esports and MHSEL, does impact student achievement, right? So we hold those kids to high standards, right? They can't be sent down to the principal's office getting in trouble. They can't be truant. They have to attend school to play their match, right? They have to get certain grades to be eligible, and we put them on the eligibility checklist, just like we would the track star and the football quarterback. So we do see those achievements happen on top of just leadership, communication skills, teamwork, things like that the kids tell us. So this is the contact info for Maggie and myself. So I think that's just about all of the information we wanted to cover. We're at about the 50-minute mark, so pretty close to what we set out to do. So if you have any questions, now is a great time. Again, once we wrap this up, I will send out the slide deck and the recording. But now is a good time, especially from that opening introduction when we asked you to, kind of what your takeaways are for the day. We want to make sure that those are being met. So whether it was just general information or specifics, feel free to fire those away. You can even raise your hand. We can unmute you at this point or throw it in the Q&A. We'll hang tight for a minute or two. Otherwise, if you got everything that you needed today, you are welcome to hop off at this time. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. We'd love to see your school jump in the fall. Please reach out if you have any questions from now until then. Again, you can get nothing stopping you from getting started today and getting an account set up and taking a couple guinea pigs for your students to help figure out how to do a scrimmage or something yet this school year to just see what it's all about.